Well, they came to a good situation.
Yeah, I suppose. Well, no, they didn't. They came into a crap situation and they turned it around.
It was. I mean, like
Man.
they had a lot of talent when they didn't have. It could have been a way worse. There are worse. There's been general managers and coaches that came to the Browns with no talent at all. Like
I don't know about that. The Browns have had talent for years. They just ruined it all.
Welcome to the Battle of Ohio podcast, where we follow the revival of the historic rivalry between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Cleveland Browns.
This is episode 39 of the Battle of Ohio podcast. The countdown is less than a month until the draft, and things are definitely starting to shift a little bit as more information becomes available. The Bengals made a move this week that I personally think is a little bit overhyped, but we're going to talk about it anyway because it has to do with Joe Burrow and Randy Moss, and Bengals fans are going nuts. The Browns might be on the verge of signing another big-name free agent. So, we're going to talk about that too. And we're going to talk about Nick Chubb's new cereal. Because why not?
Yep, why not?
And the Steelers, well, they're pretty quiet lately.
Because it still sucks.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I said too early. I'm sorry. I jumped it too early.
That's okay. But why, Thomas?
Because it still suck.
There we go. That's the correct.
I look forward to that every week. Like, it's like I have this like built-in frustration all week, and then I just let it out as soon as this podcast come on. With the Steelers still suck.
The Steelers do indeed still suck, and so much fun to say. But anyway, real quick. Just because, I'm actually not in the middle of work in this episode. I know, Thomas, you said you're not drinking anything today, and that's fine.
Well, I am drinking something. I'm drinking a Red Bull.
I'm drinking Red Bull, okay.
Yeah, keep me energized.
Where's your Jaeger?
And some Coke.
Where's the Jaeger? Where's the rum, then?
I'm not drinking. I got driving a little bit, and I like not getting stopped.
Yeah. Also, not doing stupid things.
Yeah, that too.
I don't have to drive. I'm home for the day and I'm done. So I am going to be drinking one of the coolest beers I've ever seen. It's called Robert the Bruce. Like it's the legendary Scottish king. Three Floyd's Brewing Company, I believe. And I've had this a couple of times actually before. It's got a nice kick to it. Like, there's actually more than some of those good tasting beers you come across, but they have like a super low alcohol content. I don't remember what the alcohol content is on this, but I had three of these the other day and I was buzzing. So,
Three Floyds, man, that's a good brewery.
Yeah, they've got some good stuff.
They got this zombie dust, so good.
Yeah, I think my wife was telling me about zombie dust the other day. I haven't had that one yet though.
It's really good. It's really good. I know too much about beer.
I don't know a whole lot about beer, but I sure like drinking it. So
it's one of them weird history things that you just know from being. Like, I don't know. I think it's just a side effect of being somebody who study history when you start researching random things and it just sticks to you like glue.
Yeah. By the way, fun fact for everybody listening. I don't think we've discussed this on the show yet, but I'm sure everybody at this point knows that me and Thomas went to college together. We also had the same major. We both majored in history. And now we're working for free on a podcast. So,
don't major in history, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I'm working for FedEx, so if that gives you any indication.
Yeah. Freaking, if you major in history, make that like your secondary major.
Or like major in history and have like a plan. I just came out of college and I came out of high school and I was like, what am I interested in? History. And it was fun. It was fun majoring in history, but boy, I tell you what, I'm working for FedEx now. So, but anyway, let's enough about our various pasts. Let's go ahead and get into some of these news stories. The first one that I kind of want to talk about, we'll get into the meat of it in a little bit, but first I want to shout out my boy Giovanni Bernard, who, as we talked about on the last podcast, recently released by the Bengals, and it's very sad and upsetting. And well, we didn't talk about it on the podcast. It happened after we recorded the podcast, so I recorded a live reaction and we put it on the podcast. But Gio's no longer with the team. I'm very sad. He signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, so that's awesome. Of course he does. He's gonna go win a Super Bowl. And are the Buccaneers just collecting like aging running backs? Is that what's going on there?
Apparently, because they probably have like a few like bursts of speed here and there, so they just use each one's burst of speed. That's a pretty ingenious idea.
Well, I mean, and they're kind of doing the same thing like that the New England Patriots used to do with Tom Brady, a quarterback, is they just kind of like collected like B tier running backs, and not that LaShawn McCoy is necessarily a B tier running back. Or wait, no, did he go to the Chiefs? Who was it that they signed?
What's his name?
There was Leonard.
No, you was right. Yeah, because because LaShawn McCoy went to them. The Chiefs got the Steelers ex running back.
Le'Veon Bell, right? So not to say that LaShawn McCoy is historically a B tier running back. He was great at one time, but nowadays he's kind of a B tier running back. Giovanni Bernard fits that role of what Tom Brady teams are usually looking for in running back to sign. A guy who used to play for the Bengals.
Yeah, it's kind of it means the Bengals probably. If I'm the Bengals, I'm driving a running back in this draft. Not early, probably like third round.
Well, I've been doing a bunch of mocks lately, and hopefully we actually get some time this week to do a live mock draft, and you guys can see a little bit of my thought process of how I'm working here. But I've been doing personally a lot of mocks lately. And I've been picking up a running back in about the 4th, 5th round, honestly. Guys I'm looking at, if I wait until the 6th round or something like that, depending on how the draft falls, and if I want to pick up an edge rusher or something, I might go for Ben Mason out of Michigan, a good receiving back type threat. Khalil Herbert's another one out of Virginia Tech, kind of that Giovanni Bernard type, shifty guy who can also make an impact in the passing game, who's also a bit of a blocker. And also one thing that Giovanni Bernard didn't do a whole lot in Cincinnati, but that he did have experience with doing, that Khalil Herbert also has experience doing, is returning kicks. And now that Alex Erickson's gone, Bengals are going to need a new kick returner. So maybe we'll pick up Khalil Herbert in the 4th round or something like that. If not him, I'd like to see what's his name, Kenneth Gainwell from Memphis. I don't want us to go out and get a Najee Harris or something, because that's just too high of an investment for the quality of the position, especially since we have Joe Mixon. But like a Kenneth Gainwell or a Khalil Herbert or a Ben Mason or somebody like that would be good, I think. Chuba Hubbard, maybe.
So Joe Mixon, for me, Joe Mixon is going to be your running back run one no matter what.
Oh yeah,
Joe Mixon.
Especially for that salary.
I think that I think outside of Cincinnati, I don't think Joe Mixon gets as much credit as he should. I like Joe Mixon as a player.
Well, sometimes he doesn't get as much credit as he should in Cincinnati because his lines have been so bad. He hasn't been really that effective since 2018.
Yeah, but he's still
Frank Pollock back now, so maybe Joe Mixon can get back to his old form.
He's still a beast. He's still very young.
Oh, he's insane. He just, it's been hard playing behind this offensive line.
Well, Yeah, so I mean, so obviously that goes back to the point that the first thing that we gotta do. Shoot, the first thing that the Bengals gotta do is off season or this draft is the draft offensive line. Um, but but a running back in the later rounds might be something in the cards. Keep in mind, like think about all the great running backs that don't go in the first round, that go in the second or third round.
Well, all of the Bengals' great running backs have been almost all second rounders. Like,
I mean, Nick
Corey
Chubb was a second
Dillon,
rounder.
James Brooks, Jeremy Hill for a year or two.
Cook was a second rounder. He's a beast. I'm pretty sure Tevion Murray wasn't a first rounder. Alvin Kamara, he wasn't a first rounder, was he?
No, he wasn't. The Bengals actually picked Joe Mixon ahead of him. Joe Mixon was second rounder.
Ooh, that's tough.
I was really that draft. I really wanted the Bengals to get Alvin Kamara. We got Joe Mixon, and I'm like, you know what? He's really talented, so maybe. But I was like team Kamara that year.
But like, all right. So do you think Joe Mixon would have had a better career if he played for New Orleans?
No.
No. Okay.
Wait, a better year than he's had?
No, a better career than he had so far.
A better career I think he would have done better in New Orleans than he's done in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
No.
No.
I think Alvin Kamara fit what the Saints are trying to do better than Joe Mixon would.
The thing is, okay, so what? 2018, he had 1,100 yards. Really good. It was really good. 1,168 yards, 8 touchdowns. 2018. That was his second season in the league. In 2019, just last year, where y'all had, where I didn't have a great season, he had 1,137 yards, 5 touchdowns. And this is including he's been putting up nearly 300 yards receiving each of the last his first 3 seasons. Last year he had injuries, obviously, so he missed a couple of games last year. So he didn't, but still, I mean, like when he's healthy, he's a 1,000-yard rusher. So he's not a bad rusher. I mean, this is behind.
He's a really good running back. I just, personally, I don't think because of his size and also partially because of trying to, I think, extend his career a little bit, I'd like to have like a committee style running game there. Like,
you need
we were doing with Giovanni Bernard, but at the same time, like I said, Giovanni Bernard was making too much for a backup running back.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah. I really think picking up, like you said, I think picking up a guy in you said 4th round, I think 5th round, maybe even 6th round. Like I said, depending on how the board falls. If a guy's there and he's just awesome, I wouldn't say go get a running back in the 4th or 5th round. I would say, see what the board falls. At some point, you want to probably pick up a running back, but I think you can get a running back at any time on day 3, really.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait for the draft. Well,
we're what, 3 weeks away now?
Oh, it's in Cleveland.
Yeah, it is in Cleveland.
I can't wait. I'm gonna be drunk.
The other bit of Bengals news that we need to talk about is the Bengals signed Thaddeus Moss from the Washington football team. He was cut from the Washington football team earlier this year. Didn't really do anything because he got hurt. Didn't really do anything in Washington because of that. I think I want to speak to not all Bengals fans, but some Bengals fans real quick. And some of y'all need to calm the hell down real quick on this Thad Moss guy. Like, okay, I get it. He was Joe Burrow's best friend at LSU. He's Randy Moss's son. He had a great national championship game against Clemson. He's a good player. I'm not saying he's not a good player. But there are people out there saying, like, oh, well, we don't need anybody like Kyle Pitts now. This solves our tight end problem. Like, you got to be out of your mind. Like, at best, if Thad Moss does even make the roster, by the way, I don't think it's even a guarantee that he makes the roster. Even though he's friends with Joe Burrow.
To try tight end. I was confused. You know what it was? That I thought that he because I thought he played. No, he did play tight end in college, right?
Yeah, he played tight end.
Okay, I got you. I always thought he was a receiver for some odd reason. Oh no, it's because
No, well,
his
he
father.
caught a lot of passes, but he's actually not even primarily a receiving back or a receiving tight end. He just
Yeah.
he had Joe Burrow as his quarterback,
Well, yeah. So that helps. It's like
and they
having
were
LeBron James on your team. Makes your stats get better.
yeah, and those two are really good friends as I understand it. But see, the thing is, he's most likely going to be an H-back type. Um, he's probably replacing Ethan Carter. We're not like he's not going to go take Drew Sample's job. That's not what's happening here, guys. He's not replacing C.J. Uzama. He's not doing any of that. He's going to be lucky to make the roster. But if he does make the roster, it's going to be over Ethan Carter. It's going to be over that like hybrid fullback tight end role. It's going to be primarily as a blocker and then like maybe occasionally as a safety valve type. It's not going to be one of these things where he's going to come in and like I've seen people say like, oh, we don't need Kyle Pitts now, which again, by the way, we're not drafting Kyle Pitts. I think we should draft Kyle Pitts. I think he's insane, but the Bengals aren't going to do that. But even if they were going to do it, Thad Moss doesn't take out the need to draft. Like it literally affects the draft in exactly no way, shape, or form. Like completely does not affect the draft at all.
I'm team draft Kyle Pitts all the way. And if you want Thaddeus Moss over Kyle Pitts, I need to figure out what you're smoking.
Well, I think people are just thinking. First of all, people have the wrong idea about Kyle Pitts. If you're saying Thad Moss gets rid of the need for Kyle Pitts, because by the way, again, Kyle Pitts is more of an H-back type, more of a like a blocking tight end who plays kind of a fullbacky type role. And Kyle Pitts is a monster.
Unstoppable.
Kyle Pitts could play wide receiver if you need him to. He is not the same. Like Thad Moss and Kyle Pitts barely. They only play the same position because somebody put TE next to their name. That's literally it. That's it. These two have nothing to do with each other in any way, shape, or form. Now, again, Bengals aren't taking Kyle Pitts. I understand that. It's not the issue.
Why not?
But if the Bengals were thinking about drafting a tight end, this doesn't change that. Now, maybe this makes it so that you don't have to force a tight end in the draft.
Man.
Okay, maybe fine. Even then, not really. I don't think they should be forcing a tight end anyway in the first place. I mean, it's a fine move. I'm not saying it's a bad move. It's a fine move. He could potentially do something on the roster. He could potentially be a good pickup. He could potentially even make an impact, maybe. But it doesn't change anything. He's not even really. I'm not even sure if he has a 50% chance to make the roster, guys. Like he's just a guy. That's all this is. It's just another signing. It's a guy we brought in who is relatively cheap and has some previous experience with our quarterback. That's it.
Kyle Pitts is a beast, man.
Kyle Pitts is a beast.
I'm just watching his highlights right now. I'm like, I just gotta watch his man's highlights right now, like just to make myself happy. Like he's just such a beast. You know what this is? Kyle. This is like a couple years ago, when the Browns drafted Baker Mayfield. The same year, Saquon Barkley was drafted, and everybody that I talked to said the Browns, because the Browns had the 1 to 4 pick that year, said the Browns should draft Saquon Barkley number 1, and then draft a quarterback at 4. And I just didn't agree with them. And I was like, I don't think they should draft a running back at number 1. Like I just don't. Like I just don't think that in 2018, in the 2018 NFL, you do not draft a running back number 1.
Well, I guess the thing is, running back was one of their biggest needs at the time, and Barkley was going top 5. Like, I mean, either you're going to trade down and get him, or you have to take him that high. Like,
but you also had this. You also had this running back named Nick Chubb in the draft.
Well,
yeah, that seemed to work out. Pretty well.
Better than Barkley.
Yeah, actually.
Not that Barkley's terrible or anything. He's just he has not. I don't think Barkley's lived up to the bill so far.
And but that's my whole point. the point I'm getting at right here. Is that, people are talking about Kyle Pitts as he's a sure thing for two things. There are no sure things in the NFL. First thing we gotta learn. Secondly, at that moment, the reason why I said that we shouldn't draft a running back, one, running back shelf life is not long. We need a quarterback. They want to get quarterback. Whether they should have drafted Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson, number one, over Baker Mayfield. That's an argument for another day. But they went out and got a quarterback, got a really good quarterback, number one, and they got a cornerback at number 4. Now how does tie in for this conversation right now? Me and Kyle Pitts. I badly want to see the Bengals draft Kyle Pitts because I just wanted this guy to play within 5 hours of me because he's just a bona fide beast. Just insane. I want to.
Then you guys have to deal with him every Sunday or like.
So he's awesome.
Twice a year.
He's awesome though.
By the way, I just wanna call out my dog real quick, who just farted in my room while I'm in the middle of a podcast. So that wasn't very cool, dude.
He's a puppy, man. Doesn't matter. He's a puppy. Anyway, my whole point of the story is my whole point of the story is that, on the surface, Kyle Pitts might be the surefire thing, but there might be something more needed for the Bengals.
So, I feel like that's a decent transition into the next topic here. Mel Kiper Jr. released his latest mock draft. I think it was 4.0 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, my ESPN Plus subscription was acting up, so I wasn't actually able to look at the article itself. So unfortunately, I apologize. I wasn't able to figure out who he picked for the Browns. It was a 2-round mock draft, so I wasn't able to figure that out. I'm going to have to figure that subscription out when we're done with this because that's annoying. It's like, why bother paying for the damn thing if it's not going to work? But anyway, he projected the Bengals to take Penei Sewell in the first round and De'Ami Brown in the second round, the wide receiver from North Carolina. Now, by the way, I've said many times before, if I were to pick a team, because, Bengals fan civil war is happening and you have to be team somebody. If I had to pick a team, I'm team Pitts. But I would be happy with any of these guys. Penei Sewell, Kyle Pitts, Jamar Chase, they're all really good. And there's a lot of other talent in the draft. And whoever we get in the second round is probably going to be pretty damn good too. If it's Penei Sewell and De'Ami Brown, I am totally okay with that. Let me see, actually. No, I lied. Okay, so I don't think that's going to happen, though. I'm pretty sure I'm getting to the point where I'm almost willing to make my final bet that I think the Bengals are, in fact, going to select Jamar Chase in the first round. And you got to remember, part of the reason is because of that connection with Joe Burrow already. Like I said, I was watching, this LSU team win the national championship a couple of years ago. And I was watching because I was like, oh, Joe Burrow's going to be our quarterback. I want to see this happen. But I'm watching this Jamar Chase kid, and I'm like, oh, my God, can you imagine if we managed to pair these two up? Because I was partially thinking, I was wondering if maybe Justin Jefferson would drop to the second round at the time. Maybe the Bengals get Joe Burrow and Justin Jefferson.
Mm-hmm.
But then I thought about it. I'm like, you know what? No, the real prize here, the guy you want is Jamar Chase. I guess he's coming out next year, and hopefully the Bengals aren't so bad that they're picking the top 5 again, end up with Jamar Chase. And, we all know what happened there. Joe Burrow got hurt, and now we're picking the top 5 again. But
it's a golden opportunity.
Well, it does seem like a golden opportunity because I was just thinking last year, I was like, oh, my God, can you imagine if we reunited these two, both of them, on the Bengals? Almost no chance that that's going to happen because I thought for sure we were not going to be drafted in the top 5 again. But considering we are, dude's right there. You got Alex Leatherwood, Liam Eichenberg could drop. Man, you got Landon Dickerson you could take in the second round. There's a lot of guys you could take in the second round, and we did get Riley Reif, which I understand he's 32 and he's not exactly like a top tier offensive tackle in the first place, but he's pretty good. And you got a lot of offensive line depth. man, Jamar Chase, like I would rather them go get Kyle Pitts, but considering they're not going to go get Kyle Pitts, like it just seems like Jamar Chase would be too good to be true, and he fits everything the Bengals look for when it comes to drafting. And it's like I'm not even really necessarily trying to do a segment here where I'm convincing the Bengals to go after Jamar Chase. I'm just saying I think that makes so much sense that is what the Bengals are going to do. Mel Kiper Jr. doesn't agree with me, but I also think, who in the hell is Mel Kiper anyway?
I think I agree with you on this one. I think that the Bengals should go skill position in the top 5 because you got a chance to get a top 5. Yeah, I'm pro. The only reason why I didn't want the Browns to go running back in the top 5 is because they didn't have their franchise quarterback yet. Now they do. But you guys have your franchise quarterback. Then having a franchise quarterback and having a pick in the top 5 is one of the greatest pleasures ever in the NFL. Because you can trade down or you can aid your franchise quarterback. You guys have an opportunity to give Joe Burrow a weapon that he can have for the next 10 years. And that's what you can get out of Kyle Pitts or Jamar Chase, and running back or tight ends and receivers last longer in the NFL than running backs do. So if you don't get Kyle Pitts, you get somebody like Jamar Chase. I think that would be an amazing opportunity for one. Joe Burrow and him already have a connection with each other because they played with each other. But Jamar Chase is already rated one of the best receiver in this draft, in a draft that is very deep at receiver, with Devontae Smith there, with who's the other receiver out of Alabama. But all these weapons in his draft. There's all these receivers in this draft, and Jamar Chase is considered the best receiver in this draft. That's very impressive.
I actually heard somebody say, like an NFL scout apparently said he's the best wide receiver since Julio. So
that'd be impressive. I'm not sure that happened. That's a lot. It's a lot of pressure, but I think that he's going to be a great receiver in the NFL. And I think if you have opportunity to get a talent like that, you might take it.
Well, and that's the thing. A top tier wide receiver impacts your team so much more than a top tier offensive tackle.
Yeah.
And it's not to say that a great offensive tackle can't help a lot. I mean, I was actually talking to my dad this morning, and he brought up a really good point about the pro Penei Sewell comment, or the pro Penei Sewell side, because I'm pretty sure he's Team Sewell. But he brought up a good point. The last time the Bengals drafted a offensive tackle this high in the draft, he ended up in the Hall of Fame. And the Bengals went to, I believe the Bengals went to 2 Super Bowls with him as the left tackle. I could be wrong about that. But, yeah, if the Bengals could find another Anthony Munoz, it just makes you think that, like, back when we were a team that went to the Super Bowl, which seems like a lifetime ago because it was a lifetime ago. But back when we were a team that went to the Super Bowl, we had Anthony Munoz as our left tackle. So, I mean, it's kind of it's easy to see the connection. When you got a guy that elite protecting the quarterback's blind side, then that opens up the quarterback to do so many different things. My only argument against that is your quarterback's Joe Burrow, right? His superpower is being able to, like, manage the pocket and, like, see everything that's going on and, like, multitask to hell and back. So I don't think you need an Anthony Munoz to win a Super Bowl or to even go to a Super Bowl with Joe Burrow. I think you need a good enough offensive line to make sure the dude don't get hurt. But other than that, just give Joe Burrow all the weapons that you can give him and just let him go to town. That's the way I see it.
Maybe I'll trade down from the Bengals. I'm going to come down. I still cannot get the idea in my head. I know the Bengals said they don't want to trade down, but
with who? Like at this point, it's like you might trade down with the Broncos, but the Panthers already traded for Sam Darnold, so I don't think they're going to be as willing to move up anymore.
Yeah, I think the Broncos would be the only team that trade down because I think the Broncos are going quarterback.
But if you trade with the Broncos, you might miss out on all 3 of these prospects.
That's true. Okay, so these are teams I think want to draft quarterback, by the way. Just random thought. Jaguars, Jets, San Francisco. I think the Patriots and the Broncos are going to be the other 2 teams to take quarterback in this draft in the first round.
I've heard that there's talk that the Falcons might draft a quarterback, and if not, they might trade to a team that's going to draft a quarterback.
I was just about to say that because I got the eeriest feeling. Honestly, what I think is going to happen if I were to put money on it, I think Atlanta's going to trade out of 4, like you said, because like honestly, I don't really see the point of giving up on Matt Ryan yet.
Well, it could be like an Aaron Rodgers type situation, though, right?
Yeah,
like a Jordan Love type situation.
I mean, Matt Ryan was 35. I mean, like what they could do, and this might be better suited. They might draft the skill position player. They might. I mean, can you imagine Atlanta get Kyle Pitts?
I've heard Kyle Pitts going to Atlanta.
Yeah, can you imagine if Atlanta got Kyle Pitts and they had those offensive weapons? You talk about their defense ain't crap, but you know what I mean.
Him and Julio and Calvin Ridley and whatever.
I don't know how Atlanta was so bad last year.
Because their defense was trash. The Falcons, if you recall, the Falcons were like arguably a lot better than they seemed. Their problem was they kept blowing games. Like if you recall, they kept losing.
That was hilarious.
They had these huge leads and then they lost them. Like if they had held on to those leads, the Falcons probably would have made the playoffs.
And they were so funny too.
Yeah, it happened like 5 weeks in a row.
Like it was just hilarious because they're the same team that gave that lead to the Patriots. Like y'all can't stop blowing lead. Right. I'm an Indians fan, so I understand.
Why do you think what's his name? Dan Quinn? Was he the head coach?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Why do you think he got fired?
Yeah, but so look, I wouldn't give up on Matt Ryan yet. I wouldn't give up Matt Ryan yet.
Well, I don't think they'd be giving up on Matt Ryan. I think they'd be preparing for what happens when he's gone.
That's true. He's 35, but I mean, I still think he's still got a little bit. I think he still got a lot in the tank, actually.
You know who I think like this is kind of a hot take because
Kyle Pitts make a lot of sense
because of the this is a bit of a hot take because of the positional value. But you know who I think the Falcons should take who would really, really help them? Micah Parsons, linebacker out of Penn State. I know nobody wants to take a linebacker that high in the draft. Number 4 overall, that seems ridiculous, right? Maybe you trade down, you let somebody take quarterback, and you get Micah Parsons that way. But I think that's what the Falcons need. The Falcons need a commanding defensive presence like that.
I'm looking at a mock draft on CBS, and this is done by let me see if I could get the person so I give him credit. Jonathan Jones. He actually has Atlanta doing that exact thing. Traded out of 4 with the Patriots. Had the Patriots taking Trevor Lawrence at 4, and then the Falcons taking Mike Parsons at 15.
Take the Patriots taking who at 4 now?
Trevor Lawrence, not Trevor Lawrence. Trey Lance.
I was about to say, what in the hell is that guy smoking? Thinking Trevor Lawrence is going to fall at number 4? What?
No, you know what it is though. Like, all right, so I agree. I think that goes back to my original point. I think that was gonna by game day, by draft day, by Thursday, April 29th, the Falcons are gonna trade out of 4 with somebody else, which is gonna mean the first 4 picks in the NFL draft are gonna be quarterback, which means the draft starts with the Bengals at 5. Which is a tremendous opportunity because you guys can get the best player in the draft that is not named quarterback.
Right, and considering we already have our
opportunity. Yes, it's an amazing opportunity for the Bengals. The Bengals essentially have the number 1 pick in the draft.
2 years in a row.
2 years in a row, exactly. So if I'm the Bengals, I'm taking best time. I'm taking the best player. If I'm the Bengals, I'm taking the best player.
And you know who the best player is?
For me, it either got to be Kyle Pitts or Chase, right? Am I crazy?
It's definitely Kyle Pitts.
Okay, cool. I'm not
The
crazy.
best player is Kyle Pitts. Maybe you could maybe make the argument Penei Sewell. I think Penei Sewell is a better player than Jamar Chase.
Okay.
I think Jamar Chase is great. Don't get me wrong.
But he's on more impact position.
Massively blue chip prospects right there. You got 3 potentially generational talents right there.
Yeah.
In Kyle Pitts, Penei Sewell, and Jamar Chase. It's really just kind of like what's your flavor at this point. Me personally, I think Kyle Pitts opens up so much. You can do so much with that guy, and he's so talented. But you know what? They ain't gonna listen to me. They ain't gonna do it. Last time the Bengals listened to me in the draft, they took Giovanni Bernard. That was years ago.
I'm Team Pitts. You already know me. I'm Team Pitts. I've been yelling for Kyle Pitts for a minute. Good. Like ever since you brought him to my attention, like you talked about him on one of our podcasts. You was like, oh, this guy Kyle Pitts is the second coming. I'm like, oh, I want to see Jesus. So I went ahead and I did what every single one of you experts did. I went on YouTube and watch some highlights.
Well, yeah, if you watch the highlights, everyone looks like Jesus.
But not only that, but like Kyle Pitts though, like he's not like he looks like one of his disciples and all the glory. But like Kyle Pitts looks amazing.
There you go. Unfortunately, because he's got those 2 letters next to his name that says T and E, the Bengals, being the weird traditionalists that they are going to look at that and they're going to be like, oh, he's less valuable because of that. We don't want to take a tight end 5th overall. That's crazy. But he's not just a tight end, Bengals.
He's the tight end.
He's the offensive weapon in the whole draft. Like you're out of your mind if you don't think that he's an elite talent. But they're not gonna do it though. That's the thing. So I mean, if we're talking realistic, like who's a realistic option, I don't think I really have a preference between Jamar Chase and Penei Sewell. I would be equally fine with either of them. I think it'd be fine. I think Kyle Pitts would be the best pick, but considering they're not going to take Kyle Pitts, I think if you take Penei Sewell, I'll be happy. Take Jamar Chase, I'll be happy. It's fine.
Are you doing like a little reverse jinx here?
But you know what? Yeah, you know what? Maybe I'm saying the Bengals aren't going to do it, and I'm just constantly saying it. So maybe they make me look like an idiot, and then they take Kyle Pitts. But then Thomas, it turns around, and then I don't look like an idiot because Kyle Pitts turns out great, and then we dig up these old episodes, and I've been raving about him this whole time.
So you're just okay.
Yeah, I'm playing a long con here.
You're playing. You're playing the. I don't want to. You're playing the. I'm not trying to. You're playing the. I'm not trying to get cold take game.
Well, it's not a cold take. It's a hot take.
No, you're playing the. I'm not trying to get cold take. You're playing a long game.
I am playing the I know I'm right and I'm going to die on that hill, and the Bengals aren't going to agree with me, and I've accepted that game. But when Kyle Pitts is out there tearing it up in Miami, don't come crying to me. That's all I'm saying.
Actually, I would be mad if you go to Miami because Miami's in the same conference as us.
If he doesn't go to Atlanta, I almost guarantee he's going to go to Miami.
Let's see. Yeah, you're right. Oh, why don't I just take him?
So anyway,
I want Kyle Pitts to go to my stadium once a year. Man.
So on that note, let's move on to the Browns. Nick Chubb is releasing a cereal.
It's called Chubby Crunch.
Yeah, it's called Chub Crunch. Chubby Crunch. That sounds painful. Now, okay. So first of all, I want to say this first. He's doing it for charity. The proceeds are going to benefit First Candle, which is working to eradicate SIDS and help families affected by it, sudden infant death syndrome.
Oh, look at you doing research.
Yeah. So I want to put that out there, and I want to give it all the respect it deserves. And now we're going to wait 1 second, 2 seconds.
Oh my God.
3 seconds. Okay, now that we've given it the respect it deserves, I just want to point out that they should totally call it Chubbos. That would be hilarious. Apparently, it's like a Golden Grams type cereal. That's from what I understand.
Chubby Flakes.
Do what?
Chubby Flakes.
Chubby Flakes. Ew.
Give me some of those Chub Flakes.
Ew. So yeah, good on you, Nick Chubb. That's pretty cool. Not really a whole lot else to talk about there with that, but I just wanted to point it out that he's doing it for a good cause, and you could come up with so many funny names for it. You know what? Actually, all y'all listen to this video, go ahead and go down to the comment section right now and tell me your funniest name for Nick Chubb's new cereal. I want to hear about this because this has so much potential for comedy.
Yeah, dude. Okay. I'm about to just think of all kinds of names. So, like for example, you could do Captain Chubbs.
Captain Chubbs.
Yeah, you know, Captain Chubbs. There's Chubby Charms or Lucky Chubs.
Charms? Ew.
Don't you want some Chubby Charms?
That one's funny. That one's funny. So before we take all of the names, though, like I said, comment down below. Tell me what you guys think, because there's so much potential here. So much potential. The other bit of Browns news that we should probably talk about, like I said, I was trying to look up who Mel Kiper took in that draft, but didn't work out because my account's being stupid. Apologies for that. But probably more important news, Jadeveon Clowney expected to sign with the Browns on Monday. So there you go, Thomas. You looks like you're going to get your boy. The guy you've been clamoring for.
Oh, yeah. We got somebody. I would have been happier if Von Miller signed, though, because I was trying to get him. But I am very excited about Jadeveon Clowney because Jadeveon Clowney is better than Von Miller.
Well, considering Von Miller never made it to free agency.
I know. I was just being an ass.
I mean, you know what? I wanted the Bengals to sign Taylor Moton, but, you know.
I will happily swallow that pill. I was completely wrong, and I made an ass out of myself. I got messages on TikTok, and it was like, hey, man, what happened with your boy Von Miller? Oh, no. I made an ass out of myself.
Well, you know what? Honestly, if Clowney doesn't sign with the Browns, it'll be kind of like that whole same situation again.
By the way, if you want a funny reply, just slide in my DM. I promise you, I would not let down. I am very comedical with my DMs. When people DM me, I am very funny.
What's your TikTok, Thomas? You want to plug it?
The Blowdown 22. And the only reason why it's the Blowdown 22 is because freaking TikTok is forcing people to have a number at the end of their TikTok name.
Well, that's dumb.
Yeah, I know. What the heck is a Blowdown 22?
Well, I mean, I guess if you're blowing down at 22, I don't know. I'm just trying to come up with some reason to make this make sense. So anyway, Clowney and Myles Garrett together. That could be potentially really dangerous or really disappointing. Because I mean, I'm going to be honest, Thomas. You keep getting really excited about Jadeveon Clowney, and I'm not here trying to burst your bubble. I'm not. But man, what has he done? Like, I mean, he's really talented, but what has he done? He gets hurt, and he doesn't do a whole lot. Like, I mean, like, you know, he was supposed to be like this generational defensive end type talent, and he never lived up to that. He's been pretty good from time to time at certain points in his career, but compared to what he was supposed to be, especially last year on the Titans, I mean, you want to talk about a fucking nightmare of a situation. His 2019 season was bad, or 2020 season, sorry.
Well, one thing that Clowney has been getting a lot of good credit for is his ability to play the run. I was listening to the radio the other day. I can't remember who was on the station for the interview, but the guy on 93 The Fan talked about Jadeveon Clowney's ability to slow down the run and stop the run. And you know, so like he's not gonna get those he might not get those sack stats up, but he might be able to do a lot of dirty work per se. So like maybe we're able to make him a rotational player, or maybe we're able to put him in certain situations or certain packages where we're not looking for him to be a superstar, but he's more or less a depth signing. That's kind of crazy saying that for a player like Clowney. And even you get him for like just a year deal where you're not where you don't want him to be here long term. You just give him for a year or two. And then if that happens, that opens up the draft for you because you're able to basically draft whatever you want in the first round. And whatever you draft in the first round for the Browns is going to be for development for the future. So say, for example, the Browns are looking for a defensive end or edge to pair with Myles Garrett in the near future. So, but they think that, hey, we got this player, but he's like a 2-year project or something. Well, the Browns can take that risk on a player in the first round now because if they sign somebody like Jadeveon Clowney, that gives them more depth on defense, and that allows them to have more freedom in this draft. This is such an important signing for the Browns. It adds depth, it adds layers, and it makes our defense that much better. Our defense is better with him than without him.
That is absolutely true because, like we said on the last podcast, I think right now as the Browns roster currently stands, I think Jalen Phillips would be a great pick for the Browns at the end of the draft or into the first round. But if they do pick up Clowney, then there's kind of no point in taking I still think you guys maybe should pick up an edge like later in the draft as like a developmental guy because, I mean, who knows if Clowney's going to work out or not. I don't feel like he will, but maybe playing next to Myles Garrett, maybe that'll give him everything he needs. You never know. But if you pick up an edge, then that kind of like the Browns can basically just take anything at that point. Like whoever's just the best player on the board that they feel, because you don't really have any major needs at that point.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to see who Mel Kiper picked for the Browns in his latest mock. Like I said, because of my ESPN account acting up. But apparently the mock he did before this, I did see that they picked up Zaven Collins, who's a linebacker. Now, the only reason I think that you would take a linebacker, like the Browns would take a linebacker, is if they've already filled their biggest need, which is edge rusher. Like complimentary edge rusher to replace Olivier Vernon. I mean, Zaven Collins is a really good player, don't get me wrong. But that seems kind of like a luxury pick.
So, I think Zaven Collins, he kind of incorporate more what he's a hybrid player because he does so many different things, right? So like I don't know. It's like he's not more of a traditional edge, but he's more like I don't know. That's how somebody describes Zaven Collins to me, that he wouldn't be more of a traditional. He'd be more the new age hybrid type defensive player, kind of like
linebacker.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. That's what I'm hearing. Wait, hold up. Let me look at him real quick.
Yeah, from what I've seen so far with Zaven Collins, the main thing that I've seen is he's good in coverage. He likes to play downhill. That's a guy who I mean, personally, honestly, like if the Bengals were to pick up a linebacker, that's the type of linebacker I want. That's part of why I liked Isaiah Simmons so much last year. I actually told people last year, if the Bengals didn't need a quarterback last year, then Isaiah Simmons might have been the one that I would have suggested the Bengals need to take number 1 overall. And it's because it's so rare to be able to find a guy who can both rush the passer and play good coverage. And that's been one of the Bengals' biggest problem for years is getting burned by tight ends because we have no linebackers who can play coverage.
It's kind of like the role that Devin Bush kind of plays.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of NFL teams a lot of NFL teams want that right now. I think that's like that kind of opens up your defense a little more when you have somebody who can you get the best of both worlds type thing. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I like Zaven Collins a lot. I think he's a physical freak. I think he's a beast. But I'm hearing a lot of different things.
It's like I said, like a traditional. I mean, he's a hybrid linebacker, but he's still kind of like any linebacker. For me, in the first round, any linebacker seems like. I'm not saying don't take linebackers in the first round. I am saying it seems like a bit of a luxury pick. Now, the Browns are in a unique situation where they don't really have a whole lot of needs.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank God for once.
Which is what you right. That's pretty
One
nice.
time the draft is in Cleveland, we don't need anything. Yeah, I mean, it's just watch this and relax.
Right.
I thought we were gonna have number one pick when I was like, man, they're gonna find some way to have number one pick in the draft. Watch.
Well, I mean, you can always trade up with the Jaguars.
Well, at least the by the way, Jonathan Jones has the Browns taking Ascent Samuels Jr., the cornerback out of Florida State.
Asante Samuel Jr.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I said his name wrong.
Yeah, who's taking him?
That's who got the Browns taking in the first round.
Really? Because like that was actually one guy until the Bengals went absolutely ham on cornerback and free agency. That was a guy I was kind of consistently thinking maybe they could pick up in the second round. Now, obviously, I don't want a cornerback. I don't want to see the Bengals look at secondary at all this year in the draft. After what we did in free agency, because we went out and we found every single like secondary free agent we could find. So I don't want to see any. I don't want to see the Bengals like thinking about secondary in the draft this year at this point. But yeah, he was definitely a guy I was thinking, maybe could end up more in like the second round, honestly.
What about that kid out of Virginia Tech?
Caleb Farley?
Yeah.
That'd be a good pick. He's like from what I recall, the big problem with him, the reason like he was supposed to be like a like a super high end, like possibly the number one corner taken in the draft this year. But I think there was like an injury issue with him that's the big reason why it's not quite as what was it? He did he get hurt last year? Was that what happened? ACL tear in 2017 and missed the last 2 games in 2019 due to back spasms. So yeah, I guess that's the main thing. But he's got the talent that, like, I mean, if he comes in the NFL and he doesn't have those major kind of medical issues, like if those medical issues don't hamper him, which that's always a gamble when you're drafting players with injury history, you're always like, like quite often the Bengals have been burned by this a lot of drafting guys with injury history and then they just never really do anything in the NFL. That's the big concern with Caleb Farley is he's just got like all those injury problems, but other than that, he doesn't really have any like red flags in his game. I'm looking at this draft profile on the Draft Network right now. It looks like he's got problems with like whiffing on tackles. But I mean, other than that, this dude is about as good of a cornerback prospect as you're like. I mean, injuries notwithstanding, this dude's about as good of a cornerback prospect as you're going to get this year.
All right, and I got one more player to ask about you since you're on some expert level type shit right now. What about Jason Owu out of Penn State?
Jason Owu?
Penn State. Yeah.
From what I've seen about Jason Owu so far, like I said, my preference in the draft this year from an edge rusher perspective, I really like Jalen Phillips out of Miami. Okay. I also like, I mean, both Miami guys, really. I think Gregory Rousseau is another guy, and that's actually a guy that, months ago when people were doing way too early mock drafts, that was a guy who I was seeing get mocked to the Browns a lot, was Gregory Rousseau. Actually, I saw him, like, people had him going, like, to the Cowboys initially, and then they realized he wasn't going to go that high. But the thing about Jason Owu, he's kind of like that tweener type, right? He's not like, I mean, he can probably play with his hand in the dirt. But if you pick him up, that doesn't necessarily solve your. I don't feel that necessarily solves I don't think Jason Elway is necessarily a replacement for Olivier Vernon, right? Like I think if you pick up Jason Elway, he might be like the kind of stand up, rushing around the edge type of linebacker. Really, you can play him as, and then you still need somebody. You still need to bring in somebody to kind of shore up that position that appears to be left vacant by Olivier Vernon, which injury notwithstanding, that'd be a great guy to bring back.
Yeah.
But then injury.
I think there's a lot of good cornerbacks in this draft, by the way. That I'm just looking at that I remember that made an impression on me this college football season. And so maybe drafting a cornerback in the first round is not a necessity. Maybe getting that OA guy might be a better pick if he falls to them. Then
he'd be a very good pick.
Yeah. Or maybe you do go cornerback. There's a lot of good cornerbacks that's going to go in the second round. I really like that kid out of Northwestern though too. That great Newsom guy. I watched the game of him. Is he coming out this year? He comes out this year, right?
Greg Newsom?
Yeah, is this year he come out? But okay, here it is. He's on just to go second round though.
Oh, okay, yeah. The guy from TCU, right? No, Northwestern.
No, Northwestern. Yeah, Northwestern. Yeah, I watched him because I watched that Ohio State game he played and he took over the game. I remember watching that game. I think that kid is gonna be talented. And I think you ever get him in the second round.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be an interesting pickup. That might be an interesting pickup for the Bengals to look at in the second round. He falls to them, actually.
Well, look, no, but yes. Like first of all, no. No. First of all, like I said, if the Bengals even look at a cornerback, in the draft, I might go down to Paul Brown.
Oh yeah, I forgot. You guys did just sign. Did just sign.
We got enough secondary players. We don't.
Yeah, you're right. Don't do that.
We just signed Eli Apple, and we got Trey Williams or Trey.
Scratch that idea. You guys. I completely forgot about that. I'm just thinking. I'm thinking about how bad our secondary was last year. So I'm like.
Well, yeah, and then we signed a bunch of free agents. But
I forgot about all the free agents y'all signed.
You are right. I like the potential with Greg Newsom, and I think he would fit with exactly what our problem was last year. Our problem last year was our best perimeter cornerback was Darius Phillips, and I mean he's okay, I guess, but
probably great for the Browns though.
Well, you know what? Fine, take him, because he's kind of an asshole too.
Who?
Darius.
No, I'm talking about Newsom. I'm talking about the cornerback out there. I just like him because he made an impression on me, and I like it when young players make impressions on me. When I'm watching a college game, you stand up to me. That always leaves something with me.
Well, he locks down the perimeter, which the Bengals could really use. But like I said, if the Bengals take a cornerback in the second round, I'm going down to Paul Brown Stadium and I'm burning it. I'm like, we don't need this many quarterbacks. Like literally, at some point, they're not all going to make the damn roster. If you just keep taking quarterbacks, you can't field a team of all quarterbacks. You just can't do it.
Let's draft another quarterback. Yeah, let's draft another quarterback.
If we take a cornerback in the 6th or 7th round, I'm still going to be a little salty. I'm like, man, we could have used that pick better. But that's a little more understandable. But if you take a cornerback in the 2nd round, I'm going to fart all over you.
All right. So look, I'm gonna rescind that idea, but I'm just interested in that prospect. I don't think the Browns are gonna end up going that direction. It don't seem like, because I think by the time he falls to the 2nd round, the Browns draft late in the 2nd round. I think by the time he falls to by the time the Browns come up in the 2nd round, they won't have the ability to draft him. And I don't think they're gonna draft him in the 1st round either. I wouldn't mind them drafting no cornerback. Browns did help their secondary this offseason, but I still think there's things they got to fix about their secondary. I guess it comes down to I don't really want to rely on Delpit and Greedy Williams right now, because neither of them. What have you done for me lately, right? both of them missed all of last year, and those are two pivotal pieces in our secondary, and we don't know how good they're going to even be on the NFL level. Like, how many games have Greedy Williams really played for us to really get a good gaze out? And Delphi haven't played a single game in the NFL yet. He was great in college. He was amazing in college, but we haven't seen you play yet. So what have you done for me lately? So I wouldn't mind them going quarterback in the first round. And if they went with somebody like that, I wouldn't be angry. But it seems like he might fall later in the second round. And there might be other cornerbacks to get like that Amari Samuel guy. But I don't know. Personally, I'm a sucker for what I saw. And I'm not going to forget watching that Ohio State game, watching him just go to work on Justin Fields. So, I mean, I don't know. That's just food for thought. We got Clowney bitches. I'm joking. Not yet.
Well,
I'm not jinx it.
Yeah, but that's actually a good transition into the state of the AFC North, because you know who else is actually going after Jadeveon Clowney?
The Ravens?
The Ravens, yeah. So it's from what I'm understanding, I don't know if this is like an official report or if it's just I don't know if this is an official report or it's just like speculation or whatever, but it sounds like if the Browns don't sign Clowney, then the Ravens are going to get in on the action with trying to sign him, which makes sense because they had a lot of problems with they definitely need some edge rush help, especially with Matt Judon going to the Patriots. That would definitely be something that I could see them going after. Now, if they don't get Clowney, apparently Justin Houston's visiting, so they're going to get some edge rusher in free agency to come over. And, man, like 4 years ago, Justin Houston would be an amazing signing. A little past his prime now.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what's going on with the Ravens right now.
They're going to be so bad next year.
I don't know about that. I think the Ravens are going to be like.
I think they're going to be middle tier.
With a 17. You got to think about it from a 17-game season perspective now. So I'm thinking the Ravens might be like 9-8 or something next year. Maybe
that's
like
exactly where I think they're going to win. I think they're going to win 9 games. I think what's going to happen is. I think what's happening is that we're watching the NFL slowly adjust to Lamar Jackson.
I think the NFL's caught up to Lamar Jackson at this point.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly what I'm getting at. And I think what's going to happen is that Lamar Jackson, he's going to be able to out athletic, and they're going to be able to outsmart the bad teams and the middle tier teams. They might get upset here and there, and they're going to have enough to squeak into the playoffs, but they're not going to scare anybody. I don't think they're going to scare anybody. Unless Lamar Jackson creates this pocket presence over his offseason, which he haven't done in the first 3 years. He hasn't had his passing improved since he come to the league. Last year was really good, but last year's passing was great. But his passing is great because he has his running aids with him, and also what happens if Lamar Jackson take one of those scrambles and heaven forbid, the thought that goes through everybody's mind when they have a running back quarterback. It's a thought that you always gotta have when you have a running back quarterback. Like
or
that,
a quarterback with no offensive line.
Yeah. Yeah. I just can't. I don't know, man. I just. It's not that I don't want to, because I think Lamar Jackson. I don't want to feel like I'm ragging on Lamar Jackson because he's an athletic monster. He is changing the game. Obviously, that's why people are drafting linebackers like Devin Bush. But the fact of the matter is that people are figuring him out, like you said, and the good teams are gonna figure him out. That's why you struggle so much in the playoffs, because they make the team one-dimensional. And I just don't think the Ravens are gonna be this dominant team next year. I think people want to make them one-dimensional. They're going to win a couple of games here and there because the culture there and the coaching, and they do have some talent in that team, but I don't think they scare anybody no more. I don't think they scare anybody no more. They might beat some of the bad teams, like I said, but that's it. Like I don't think they're gonna beat the Steelers, but I don't think the Ravens are gonna be. I think they're gonna be mediocre at best next year. I agree with you. 9-8.
Yep. Well, I was saying either 9-8 or 10-7 or something like that. I don't think the Ravens will be bad. I don't think they'll be particularly good, but I think they're going to be kind of like they were this year. I think they're going to be one of those fringe teams. Except I think maybe next year it's going to go the opposite direction for them. Instead of making the playoffs as a fringe team, I think they're going to be just barely on the outside looking in.
Well, that'd be crazy. That'd be hilarious.
Well, considering all the hype, yeah. But especially with just last year, the last 2 years, really, they've been a popular dark horse Super Bowl pick. And actually, really, back in 2019, they weren't even a dark horse Super Bowl pick. People are just the Ravens, they're really good. They're going to win the Super Bowl.
Oh my God, they are, and they got smoked by Phillip Rivers in the first round.
Yeah.
Is that what they played? They played the Chargers, right? They played
the Titans in the first round.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. It was Ryan Tannehill. No, 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago they played the Titans, and then they.
No, I'm sorry, not 2 years ago. 3 years ago. His first, because he made the playoffs 3 years in a row.
Oh.
His rookie year, they played against Phillip Rivers, right?
I don't remember.
Yeah, it was the Chargers the first year, right?
Well,
they got
was it
blown
2018?
out. Yeah. Well, I guess that you don't really count because that was division wasn't, the AFC North wasn't that good.
Yeah, they lost the Chargers.
Yeah, but the AFC North wasn't as great, so I'll give them a pass. That was your first playoff game as a quarterback, as a running back quarterback. So I give you a pass on that one.
But considering they haven't really improved on it much since then,
the fact that that's the whole point. That's the whole point I'm getting at. Is that all right? So if we look at the quarterbacks in the draft, right? So Josh Rosen, Sam Darnold, right? So Sam Darnold, he'll get a second chance. I still think that we haven't seen the best of Sam Darnold. I don't know if we've seen the best of Josh Rosen for either. I don't think Josh Rosen really even had a chance. But let's just say those two are the two quarterbacks that haven't really worked out, right? So I leave you with Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield. That's the scale that Lamar Jackson is going to be rated on. He's going to be rated on those two quarterbacks in comparison. Josh Allen and Baker Mayfield have improved. It kind of seems like Lamar Jackson had kind of plateaued.
Yeah, kind of.
That's a scary thing to say to somebody who's 24 years old.
It really feels like Lamar Jackson hasn't really. It really feels like Lamar Jackson hasn't been really improving much from. I mean, he's still really talented. He still does some jaw-dropping things, right? But I mean, at the same time, he also kind of doesn't do too many jaw-dropping things because you kind of already seen it all from him. You already know what he does. That's what he does, and that's kind of all he does.
Let me ask you this: at 24 years old, do you think that we see the very best of Lamar Jackson?
That's hard to say because, do I think he has more in him? Yes, I do. I think he could. I think he could improve, but I don't think he has improved so far.
Yeah,
I think he's kind of stayed he's been just as good. I mean, I think he improved from 2018 to 2019. I think there was an improvement, but from 2019 to 2020, I don't know if there was. And I don't know if there's going to be much more improvement. I think we kind of know who Lamar Jackson is right now. And I think he could take another step if he finds the right coach, but I definitely don't think Greg Roman's the right coach to do it because I think Greg Roman is I think Greg Roman is your quintessential running quarterbacks offensive coordinator. And I think if you get a West Coast kind of guy in to kind of if the Bengals were to fire Zach Taylor and he were to end up in Baltimore for whatever reason. I think Zach Taylor could like coax some more out of Lamar Jackson than what he's doing right now. But I don't think that it's going to happen with Greg Roman.
So this is how I feel about it. I think that all right. So I think I agree with you completely. I think that when I look at the quarterback position, is more than just throwing the ball. I think Lamar Jackson have the arm strength to be a quarterback in this league.
Yeah.
I think, but I'm not a quarterback expert, but I am a nerd to this stuff. I love this stuff because, for example, three-step throwback, right? The height, cut, right? That's something that Tom Brady works on every single day of his entire life because he want to be able to have a quick release. Tom Brady has one of the quickest release in the NFL. Snap the ball like that, boom, pass down the field, boom, snap, boom, He knows exactly where he's going. Tom Brady's a rhythm quarterback. He gets in his rhythm very early and he just takes over the game with the way he's able to quarterback. He's able to read defenses, identify what's going to happen. He's able to explain that, communicate that well with offense, adjust on the fly. He's able to manipulate the pocket. He's able to move his feet well. He has excellent footwork. All of that goes in with being a quarterback than just, I got nobody open, let me scramble. There's so much more to quarterback than that. And when people figure out that's all that we think about, yeah, I'm athletic. Yeah, you're athletic and stuff. But
fair enough. All right, so moving on then, the rest of the AFC North, the Crapsburg Steelers. Well, no, you know what? It's my podcast. The Schittsburg Steelers. The Schittsburg Steelers. Let's call them that. Yeah. I'm sitting here like, I better censor myself. Oh, wait, it's my fucking podcast. Fuck that. All right. So anyway, the Steelers still suck. That's pretty much all we have to say here because they haven't really done anything. They still got a couple. They got a couple free agents still that they haven't signed yet. There's Josh Dobbs. There's nobody really exciting. Josh Dobbs, their backup quarterback, like the third string quarterback or something like that. Who, Jordan Dangerfield, Avery Williamson, James Conner, they still haven't re-signed. So it's like, are they going to bring him back?
I won't.
I mean, they probably shouldn't, but I mean, he had the cancer thing going on, so maybe. He was kind of became a fan favorite. Then there's Alejandro Villanueva. Hold on, I am going to wait. Shit, we're recording. Fuck.
You're such a dad. You're such a dad.
Your mom. Okay. Anyway. Okay, going back to the Steelers, the only really two interesting things are what are they going to do? They're just not going to re-sign Alejandro Villanueva and James Conner because those are both like Steelers fan favorites. And they don't seem like they're coming back, which, I mean, in the case of James Conner, it's like he's not that great in the first place. So it's like he probably would, to return to Pittsburgh, he'd probably cost too much for what he actually produces. Now, Alejandro Villanueva, he's been a offensive line staple. They got big problems on the offensive line right now with, everybody they've let go and everything. And you're like, are you really just going to like not bring Villanueva back? Seems like you really need to do that.
I just can't wait to watch the Steelers just get detonated this year. By the way,
they are in the process.
But I'm still thinking about it. But they still gonna have a good defense, and Mike Tomlin is still a good coach. So let's say that.
Who cares?
But
I think Mike Tomlin has been showing more and more lately.
I hope he gets fired next year.
Well, I don't know if he's going to get fired, but I think Mike Tomlin's been showing that he had a lot of early success because he took Bill Cowher's team and and basically just maintained it for a long time. Yeah. But I think what we've seen lately is like, he's been like they haven't been having a lot of any losing seasons, which fair enough. That's a pretty good accomplishment. I'm not going to like sit here and say that that's not a great accomplishment. But I think he gets way too much credit for winning a Super Bowl early in his career when Bill Cowher built that team. And all he's really done is had the Steelers kind of been a middling organization since then.
I really do think that Mason Rudolph has something. And I hate Mason Rudolph. I'm like, I got to keep on reminding you all how much I hate this guy.
What does he have, Connor?
I mean,
but
like
he didn't even know, like let's literally.
Okay,
I mean, maybe Schuster, maybe Smith-Schuster, but
Mason Rudolph has the luxury of having Mason Rudolph
he doesn't have
so
any talent.
many. He has so many weapons. He has all these weapons, right? And he's playing behind Ben Roethlisberger. He's watching Ben Roethlisberger play with. Would you say that Mason Rudolph have a stronger arm than Ben Roethlisberger at this point of his career? Or a more, I don't know. I wouldn't say stronger. I would say, you know what it was.
He's probably in better shape than Ben Roethlisberger.
Well, you know what it was for Ben Roethlisberger. Ben Roethlisberger, he tailed off at the end of the season. At the beginning of the season, he didn't look bad, but as the season went on, it kind of felt like it looked like arm fatigue for me. Like his arm got like tired. He couldn't make those deep throws anymore. That's what it looked like for me. But all I'm saying is that Week 17 game, all I have to look at is a Week 17 game, and he looked good that game. That's it. That's all I got for you. He just looked good that game. I just think that he deserves a second look. I think the Steelers owe him a second look. The Steelers should draft a quarterback. They should do, but I think they should give. If they don't draft a quarterback, then why not give Mason a second look? Because Ben Roethlisberger ain't the answer. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Look, I would love.
I mean that sincerely too.
I would love to see. I would love to see the Steelers try to make Mason Rudolph work. But I'm not going to sit here and try to say, like, I'm not going to sit here and try to, like, analyze, like quote unquote, analyze it and try to make it seem like that would be a good idea. I want them to do it because it would be a bad idea. Mason Rudolph is trash. He's like Carson Wentz if Carson Wentz didn't have talent.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, okay, yeah, you're right. Well, Carson Wentz doesn't have talent.
Carson Wentz does have talent. That's all he has is talent.
Does he?
Yeah,
Carson, you're trash. I'm sorry. I'm just happy you just gave me an opportunity to forget my Mason Rudolph take. Just remember that Carson Wentz is trash. That's all that matters.
Well, Carson
Wentz,
Mason Rudolph is pure trash, though. There's a difference. Like Carson Wentz,
right.
if Carson Wentz could like not be bad, he would be really good.
I think
Mason Rudolph doesn't have that opportunity. Mason Rudolph would like. If Mason Rudolph like could figure out a way to not be bad, he would be okay at best.
I just don't think look, I just get the feeling that Mason Rudolph we haven't seen. I just don't think we've seen the last of Mason Rudolph. That's it. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. We haven't seen the last.
Right, because that means he would be quarterbacking the Steelers again, which would be hilarious.
Mason Rudolph is like that evil villain. Mason Rudolph is the Frieza of the NFL. No, he's not even a Frieza. He's Frieza too good for him. Frieza's a beast.
Yeah, I was about to say, well, how on earth would he be Frieza? He's like Hercule, maybe.
He's a what?
Hercule. Mr. Satan.
Mr. Satan. I'm sorry, that's some Dragon Ball Z stuff.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing wrong with that at all, man. Freaking Majin Buu was a beast, though. Okay. Mr. Satan got power of Majin Buu. Anyway, that's not here or there. I just don't think that we've seen the. I just think we've seen the last of him. That's it. That's all I got. That's all I'm saying. I just think that we haven't seen the last of him, and I think Mason Rudolph should get a second look.
I sure hope you're right. I hope he gets a second look in Pittsburgh because that would be hilarious. But anyway, I think that's probably all we have to talk about this week on this episode of the Battle of Ohio podcast. So thanks for listening, everybody. You can find the I mean, you can always find, any other episodes of this podcast on the YouTube channel that you're currently watching it on. But if you want to follow more of me and Thomas talking about anything Bengals or Browns related, you can hit us up on, or give us a follow on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/thephelps, or Twitter. I'm at Kyle Phelps 92. Or you can find Thomas at T_star94 on Twitter or Instagram. YouTube page is Blowdown Page. And what'd you say that TikTok name was?
The Blowdown Page 22.
Blowdown Page 22. All right.
Yes.
So yeah, if you guys just, itching for more Battle of Ohio podcast like content. I mean, not that I post a whole lot more content, but I do a lot of talking. So, you can come have a discussion with me and I'll talk to basically anybody. I don't have a whole lot going on, so come hit me up. Do it. Or hit Thomas up. I don't know. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Share it to anybody who you feel would enjoy this podcast. Any Bengals or Browns fans that you know.
Or anybody who's attracted to this wonderful, beautiful single face right here.
Yeah, any single ladies out there.
All the single ladies.
Yeah, all the single ladies should be listening to our podcast just purely to get a glimpse of Thomas and his everything.
Or that cute dog is in the background right now.
My dog's in the background. Oh, hey guys, this is Bork. This is my puppy. I think I had him on another podcast.
Yeah, you did. He's just chilling.
Come here. Let's go say hi to everybody.
You're such a dad.
Appearance number 2 for Bork Baloney Phelps. Yes, you're much bigger this time, aren't you? You're like twice the size you were last time.
He's just chilling.
Yeah, he's just chilling. And he's a Bengals fan, everybody. He's a dog who roots for a cat team, so that's weird. I've always been a dog person myself, but all my teams are cat teams. Bobcats, Bengals, Wildcats. I don't understand, but that's how it works.
I don't want a little dog myself.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Like, one of my team's big rivals is a dog team.
I mean, it's cool, Some people are dogs, some people are cats, some people are gangsters.
All right, then. So I think that's a good place to leave it for now. So thanks for listening to everybody, and we'll catch you next time. Boo day.
Stay gangster, y'all. Go Browns.